This week we're joined by Max Shannon, gamer, software engineer and founder of prop tech startup Rylax. From acting the goat in school to being diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, from dropping out of college to becoming a dad and finishing his degree, Max's journey is raw, honest and inspiring. He takes us inside his world, how a love for PC gaming turned into a tech career, why he left the safety of a 9 to 5 and how he's now tackling one of the biggest problems in property with Rylax. This episode is brought to you by Top Drawer Talent, the supply chain and procurement recruitment specialist. Let's get into it. Here we go. Max.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Right. Thanks very much for coming in. Long journey from Westford.
Yeah, not too bad. Like I just in a Scotty, like so it's only about an hour and a half. Like.
Yeah, it's grand. But you're the co-founder or owner or CEO of Rylax.
Yeah.
What does Rylax actually do?
We're in the prop tech space. We're making software for real estate agents, developers, and the people moving into these new homes.
Okay.
So we released our initial app in April, and the app is just designed to help people with the process. They can document their journey, they can budget, they can do whatever. But the core fundamental principle was Rylax. We wanted to look at the bigger problems behind the sale of new homes in Ireland. Okay. So there's three people involved in that really, and that's the real estate agent and the property developer. And how my experience comes in as well. What my father was a builder when I was younger, like so okay. I worked on sites and all, so I have a unique experience to be able to pull this off.
Right.
Yeah. So we're building systems like we have AI evaluation tools, we have AI snag reporting analysis, so we can ingest loads of different snag reports and tell developers where their issues are in real time.
Okay.
For example, that's one of the core features of the platform.
Right. And you went from software developer to entrepreneur. Was it a big shift for you, or were you always a bit entrepreneurial?
Yeah, I would say I was, because my father, I was very entrepreneurial, and the lads I've been surrounding myself with for the last decade are entrepreneurs as well. Like,
okay.
And I started this to go out on my own, really.
Right.
But I started as a back end, like I've done my nearly a decade career in the industry here in Ireland as a back end engineer. Right. I had no experience doing the front end, doing apps, and I just decided to leave my job really and just go at it.
Right. What does like a back end developer actually do?
Well, that's a good question. Like, there's loads of different types of back-end developers, really. Like, but my bread and butter was databases and databases, APIs, and to explain that, like, kind of the volume of requests. Like, I worked for Distilled, who own and operate Daft and Dundee, and like those websites get hammered every day. Like, with the amount of requests. So it's kind of all the things you don't see. Right. Really, so every time the front end, say there's a button, click on the front end, it would send a request to our side. We process the request, do what we call business logic, handle the request, all that sort of stuff.
Okay. And is it hard to learn, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say with AI now, like I think people could get up to industry level code or like, get enough with like AI, you can make an MVP now really fast.
Yeah.
But using AI to, support you as you're learning will be much better. Like you can just speak to it and go, and it will come back. Like every day I talk to it and it'll come back with like libraries, how to reuse. Like a really good engineer will reuse stuff that people have already made.
Yeah.
Like login authentication. When I was starting Rylax, one of the first big things like I was messing around with was login authentication because I'd never worked on that sort of stuff.
Okay.
We always had another engineer or two to work on that sort of stuff.
Right.
So I just used something from Google called Firebase, for example, and just plugged right in.
And that's it. And so it's basically getting all the different pieces to kind of link into.
Yeah. And then my centralized Rylax backend service is just all my what we call business logic, how we handle the apps, the integration between the people on their phone and their apps, for example.
Okay.
Because like the whole system is cloud native, so multi-device synchronization, all that fancy stuff.
Right, so it's quite complex. But were you like always into like coding at like when you're younger, or like was this like a career that was on the horizon for you from like day one?
I started to play around and I wasn't very good when I was about 16, right? And that started with Java. Back then I was writing Java and I was just doing a bit of HTML, little bits of websites and all, but I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah.
And I went to my career guidance teacher and she just told me, you haven't basically got the brains to do this. So
Really?
I was, when I was in sixth year, and I said, you know what? And I actually, in my Leaving Cert, I applied for, I think it was University College Ireland.
Right.
And I just didn't get in. I
Right.
had to write to computer science, and it turns out there was a space in Griffith College, like it was like 490 points on vacant places, and I said, yeah, I'll go for that, and I dropped out of that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I did the first year, but it was just incredibly hard. My brain wasn't ready for it yet,
Okay.
but I still loved the coding, so
Yeah.
I came back a little bit from it, and I always was doing a little bit of good. Why I really got into coding was seen that people could cheat in games, in online games, and
Yeah.
it kind of intrigued me that someone could write a little bit of code and they can change the game, and that's
Okay.
what got me. It
Right.
wasn't the fact of manipulating the game, it was that someone else could program something to change something that someone else had made, and
Right.
that sparked my interest.
Would you been a big gamer?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, well, growing up, I did a lot of gaming,
Was it like PS
no,
or
PC, hardcore
PC? Yeah.
PC since I was about
Jeez.
12 years of
Okay. What kind
age.
of games are you playing then on
Um,
PC?
Battlefield 2 was the original game
Right.
that I played on the PC, and then there was like the Diablo 2, the Diablo series of games.
No, I
They're
haven't
kind of
come.
like a top-down Blizzard made them.
Okay.
Played a lot of them when I was growing up, did a lot of racing simulators.
Okay.
Now I game now, but I do more flight simulators and stuff like.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the brains or I don't have the capacity for Call of
For
Duty or
instance.
anything anymore. Like,
Yeah. And like, would you have been writing code then to change the game and kind of win, or like what? What do you
not
mean?
exactly. There was this old game called Assault Cube, right? And it was free to download, and all
Okay.
the cheaters would, use this to practice on. And the first thing was like when you
Yeah.
shoot the gun, instead of your bullets going down, it went up.
Okay.
Things like that just naturally, and you could jump higher and all. But I just found it's actually, it's not the fact of the cheat, getting the manipulating the game. It's getting to that point of finding out how to do it. Like you have to scan the memory for its address of where it keeps your bullets, for example, and you
Okay.
have to manipulate that address. And I found that fascinating.
Right. Okay. And then school, right? Like, were you like academic in school then, or like how was school for you?
No, I wasn't.
No.
No, I think I was on the phone to you the other day, and I said
Yeah.
I got 180 points. I was wrong. I got 220.
220 points in
Yeah,
literature.
yeah. I
Okay.
was good at engineering, but there was a problem with me in my school that I only got diagnosed with dyslexia when I was 18. And I
Okay.
went through the entire school system, and I was being forced to do Irish and French. Now, I kept French in the end because I was good, but I just couldn't get the Irish, and I was a bit wired.
Okay.
So during these classes, I was just sent down to the library with 20 other lads, and we just boxed the head off each other.
Yeah, just messers in the
Yeah, yeah,
class.
that's really what it was. And then
Okay.
I wasn't. It wasn't that I wasn't academic, engineering and all. I had a really good engineering teacher.
Yeah.
Mr. Cassidy was his name. Just the way he taught engineering really stuck to me. It still sticks to me through my entire career
Yeah.
of how he taught engineering, and I got really good at engineering. I think like I got a B1 or whatever it was at the time in engineering, in
Right.
higher
Okay.
level engineering.
Yeah.
I only took higher level that and construction.
Okay.
So
So that was it. And was it just like the hands-on, like it being so practical, or was it like the academic side of it, like the teaching in the class?
I always was inquisitive of how things work.
Okay.
Really, like I'd like to take things apart. Like I used to take apart computers, dirt bikes, quad bikes, everything. Like
Right.
just to see how they work. They'd never go back together though. Like
Just
yeah, yeah,
fascinated with what's on the inside.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So but engineering was different to me. I always really, really liked how things work, and then that applied to my coding. I really liked the coding aspect. I always thought it was fascinating that you
Yeah.
can do a lot with a laptop.
Yeah. Was like computers or something like, was that something that was taught in school or something that you got exposure to in school, or was it all like outside of school when you were playing the games that you kind of picked it up?
No, no, when I was in school, you might get an hour a week on the computers in the library,
Yeah,
and you'll
to use
probably
Excel.
remember, yeah, and they weren't like you only could use pinball on them or whatever, like they weren't great.
Okay.
No.
And like, did you have a job while you were in school then as well? Like, or were you working with your dad in the summers on the construction sites?
Yeah, yeah. So every weekend, really, and even after school, like me and my brother, not every day. I would say at least once or twice a week, and then most weekends we went to work with my dad.
Right.
Where we wouldn't know what we'd be doing really. Like he's that type of man that you wouldn't know. He'd just say we're getting up at 6 in the morning, we're going, and you just go off in the jeep with him for the day. But there was a lot of construction. We did a lot of farming, did a lot of work with animals,
Right.
cows, horses. That was it really, but.
Did you grow up on a farm or?
No, my dad had like
yeah,
my dad had rented a farm up in the behind Barndarrick there up in Wicklow, where he kept kind of machinery and he kept horses and cows. You know, he was trying to make money on the cows. Like he's always trying to flip something. My old lad.
So he's the
Yeah,
entrepreneur
he's
in the
always
family,
trying to make a deal. Like, yeah, I learned a lot. I was going around with the van with him. He was making deals all the time. Like, and he's brilliant. He's brilliant. I've never seen anything like that man to close a deal.
Buy and sell it.
Yeah, he really would. Like, there was like I have a story one day. We were cutting grass up in a housing estate, and we had like a whole trailer full of grass, and we were bringing it down. We had to go and get diesel down at Gala before we could bring it out to the dump. Now he's going to have to pay to get rid of it. And when he was there at the thing, this man came up to the window and he was like, "What are you doing with the grass?" And I automatically started to talk because I was driving the Jeep, like, and he's like, "Oh, some fella's giving me €50 up there for to feed his horses." And like, we were going out to the dump, to dump it, like, and he sold a trailer full of grass to this man because his horses were starving.
Jeez.
Like, so, and then we drove it up the road, 2 minutes up the road, and the lads unloaded it and all, and he was just laughing his whole way home with the Jeep, with the money.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's so you picked up a few tricks of the trade along the way.
Yeah, the art of the deal, as they say.
But then school then, right? Like, was the plan, did you take time out then before you went to to Waterford Institute of Technology, or how long did it take you
that was a bit of a, not for anyone listening, for any young lad, don't panic, but like, I dropped out of Griffith, so I didn't do well in my exams. I was commuting in every day. I have no excuse really. I was just lazy, and I just wanted to drink cans with the lads, you know, in college.
Yeah.
And I left that, and I was working in Applegreen. I worked in Applegreen for about a year.
Yeah.
And some stage in the middle, I can't really remember, I did a graphics design cert in in Dunleary.
Okay.
Right? And I moved to Extravision, and kind of towards the end of Extravision, I was coming up on, I was about 2021. I was like, I just do not want to do this. I don't want to get stuck. Right. And I was going to get stuck, you know, like.
Yeah, because in a rut.
And I spoke to my parents and I was like, I want to go back to college. My mum said, yeah, no problem. You know, like, yeah, she always believed in investing in education, like.
Yeah.
And I went back to I applied and I went back to WIT, and I never looked back. I never failed a single exam. I just went ham through the 4 years in WIT.
Right.
But I did, in that 2 year space, I did a lot of jobs. Like, I worked for Cash for Clothes, you know, just little jobs here and there, nothing really, no career.
Okay.
Really, so just little bits. But at the same time, you're working 30 hours. Back then, it was $8.65 an hour, 30, 40 an hour. Wasn't getting anywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Just kind of stuck. Was that the turning point for you though? Like, those 2 years off, like, that kind of made you mature, kind of taste the reality and saying, this is not what I want my life
I wouldn't
to be?
say it made me mature now.
No.
In a way, like, I really felt trapped in my life, and it was killing me. I was like, it's going to be this, and I'm going to bop around now doing bits like this for 10 years, and I'll be 30. I'll be this age now, and I've gotten nowhere in my life. So I went, and by the time I went back to WIT, I had a lot of coding experience.
Right.
You know, well, I thought I did.
Yeah.
And it just, WIT was such a brilliant place as well, with dyslexia and stuff. They were so supportive, and it was a completely different than the schooling system as well. I went through the first year without telling them I had dyslexia and ADHD, like, and then I went to in the second year and told them, and then they put all these supports around me. You know, really, like.
Jeez,
Waterford Institute of Technology would now set you a brilliant place.
Yeah. Do you know, did you get diagnosed for the ADHD and dyslexia?
Yeah, so my mum had a piece of paper that says I have ADHD since I was about 7, and that was probably pretty normal, like.
Okay.
But the dyslexia, I was 18, right? And I was coming up on my Leaving Cert, and I couldn't get Irish, and I was really struggling. I think it was the very start of 6th year.
Yeah.
And the school said, go off and get him tested, and it came back. So, like, it even says in the woman's report, severely dyslexic. But, like, I didn't really I'd learned by then how to kind of cope with it.
Yeah.
Really, I'd forced myself to cope with it, and I never really saw it as a disadvantage either. I'm a very visual learner, or visual whatever. Like, I could draw. If I can draw it, I can build it.
Yeah.
You know, sort of job. Like.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
What was the process that you went through to get diagnosed? Like, are you like in like counseling sessions? Are you like given assessments? Like, what?
I went to this woman's house, and I sat there for I barely remember it now, but like 6 hours, and she drilled me, went through sentences, I'd say the testing material is completely different now, like.
Right.
and they filled in so many forms, and there was loads of card stuff and all they had to do, like, and just see where I am with my spelling, on my, sort of everything there,
Yeah.
like, and it just came back. But we kind of knew,
Kind of had an
and it was
idea.
the attention thing, really. Like, someone, if I wasn't interested, it wasn't that I was being malicious. For example, someone could be drawing something on the board, and if they draw a weird letter in handwriting, my brain would just focus on that for 5 minutes, going, "That's a really weird way to draw J."
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Max is not listening." It's not that I analyze a lot of different things, like,
Yeah.
that are going on around me.
Okay. Or even like the way the teacher might look at you. It's like, why did you look at that person that way, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I was sitting in the chair, like, my friends, if you ever had to interview my friends, they'd say, like, I just always had to be moving and doing something,
Yeah. Would you been like disruptive in the class then as well, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, but I was a bit of an arsehole, like, to be honest. When I was that younger, I was lashing out at the system and all. I didn't know what I was doing, but
Yeah.
I was a bit of a messer, like.
If you could go back and change something in the school system, like what would you change?
I'd say they have more support for people like me now,
Yeah.
but more hands-on. I think they do coding and all now as well.
Yeah,
Like,
some schools I think do computer
Yeah.
the computer science. Yeah.
and more engineering, like, really, like, bigger concept of things, really, how the world works a bit better. Like, yourself, probably, I still don't think they teach you how taxes, like,
No.
where I'm struggling with how to do taxes now, relax and figure it all out. But if I'd have to see the process again. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like it's been so long, and when you go through different colleges and all, like,
Yeah.
my last thing of education was college.
Right.
If I was to change the Irish school system, like, there's probably a lot of people could say, but I think, like, we have a very good school system in
I
Ireland.
think so too. Yeah. I think the classroom numbers are too big though.
What are they now?
I think it's like 30 in a class.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know, like, I didn't really learn until after I left school. I was like paying for education myself, but I just felt like you probably weren't getting the attention that you needed in the class because the class was so big. It was just like, this is what I learned today, this is what's on the board, do these sums,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
your homework in tomorrow, kind of thing. There was no, like, well, they told me a little bit, but they couldn't go as in depth or kind of show things to you.
Yeah, yeah,
way you probably
yeah. Labs, labs in college were very good. They'd split the entire group. Like, when we started in WIT, there was 88 of us,
Right.
and so they'd split us into lab groups, to make sure the teachers, like, the lecturers and all in WIT were amazing, but they would split you down and explain it, and they wouldn't move on. They explain it now. Everyone was dropping like flies as well. Like,
Yeah. So, like, how did you get into WIT with just the 220 points? Did you go back as like a mature student, or was it a CAO application again, or?
I applied, so I didn't do computer science when I went back. I did
Yeah.
it a little bit different. I did software systems development, which was more focused on systems engineering.
Right.
Computer science looks at a lot of theory behind computers as well, and it's different, really, in a
Yeah.
lot of different colleges. They study algorithms and data structures and all, where we were more focused on building little systems and
Okay.
that sort of thing.
Right. And like, but how did you get in, right? Like, into that course, like, was it a CAO application?
Yeah,
Or was
yeah.
it just like that you only needed 220 points to get in?
I think it was that I only needed 200, and I sent them emails as well, like,
Right.
so, to explain my situation, and I actually don't know if that ever had an impact. And the thing, I changed, and I had sent them a little bit of code and all that I'd done, even though it was terrible, but I was just showing that I really
something of
wanted to do,
interest.
like, when I was doing even the graphics design in Dunleary, I would write a little bit of code when I was done with the graphics design. One of the lecturers told me as well, you need to go back to college. Like, he did computers and then went into teaching the graphic
Right.
side of it, and he suggested I go back. So when I applied for it, there's the ADHD me going off there for a minute.
Yeah.
But the getting back in, I think it was just a CAO. Now, it's nearly 10 years ago now, like,
Yeah.
but it was just CAO. I reapplied, and then it came through, and I went back and I moved down.
Right. And what helped that you had the graphic design course? Was there like a QQI on the graphic design then, or
No,
no?
no,
That's just
that
course.
didn't. That graphic
no way.
design has done nothing for me
Right.
in my entire career.
Might help you know the front end.
Yeah, I know some of the tools and all, how to use them together and all, but I wasn't really too interested in that.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And then, so you done the 3-year course in WIT, and then you had the chance to get a scholarship, was it, to go to Austria, or what was that?
So I did my level 7 bachelor's degree,
Right.
and then at the end of the 3rd year, the college would send the whole class off who was left, but there was only about 16 to 20 of us left by then,
Yeah.
to different places. Like some lads went to Utrecht, but I was lucky enough that I got picked to go to Hagenberg, and that was it was a research centre in the University of Applied Science, Upper Austria, Hagenberg.
Right.
And I got to work there, and I got to work with loads of VR tech and all before it was even mainstream on the market.
Really, yeah. And like, so that's VR tech is like virtual reality, right? This is like the goggles and
Yeah, we had like the Microsoft HoloLens, like, so this one, you couldn't even buy one at the time.
right.
But you'd be able to put a monkey on the, up on there was shelves on the wall and stuff, like, and loads of lads were working with all that sort of stuff. They had the Oculus, the HTC Vive, they had everything
Right.
up there, like, and it was a big, they had a gymnasium. What they were trying to do was make VR multiplayer, which wasn't very mainstream at that time.
Right.
And they had lasers going around, inside this big thing. Like, I'd never seen anything like it. I couldn't believe it. And 4 or 5 of us going around with VR headsets trying to play a multiplayer game.
Right.
And then there'd be there'd be lads that are doing their master's degree trying to make the game, and they'd be bug fixing as you were playing it and doing different things.
And what was the games that they were building, right? Because it was healthcare as well, was it?
Yeah, there was 2 parts to it, really. It wasn't just games, really, over there. There was a lot of, like, the lads were doing a lot of medical stuff. They were using AR to look at our augmented reality, to look at CAT scans and stuff. Like, I wasn't really, that was way behind, because I was working for PhD students
Yeah.
while they were doing their PhDs.
Okay.
The first thing we made was I had to make this thing with these contact IO beacons. They were little tiny Bluetooth beacons. And the requirement was that when a phone walked into an area, it had to triangulate where your phone was. So these beacons would be in the corners, and we were able to pull that off in a couple of weeks. Like, so we were just proving the concept that these beacons could tap in and repeat off your phone to kind of see where you were in a room, because they were kind of doing it in big factories, so we were doing small scale.
Yeah.
And then the second part of it was, when we finished that, I was actually only meant to do that for the entire stay, but I got that done. That was actually simpler than we actually thought.
Okay.
I believe there's a startup in Ireland. There's a young lad somewhere down in Ireland doing this now, but I built a VR set to desensitize people to arachnophobia. So what we do would strap them into the table, and I built a game, because most of this VR stuff was building game, and we'd make spiders crawl all over their hands, in VR. But one of the lads would have a little paintbrush and all, and tickle their hand and all. But by the end of it, they started to use it, and by the end of it, this woman that had arachnophobia was able to hold a tarantula from my base game, so I left Austria in the December, and the lads took over for me, and then they were able to, they started to use it. Like, I got a bit lost in the game, like the game, you were locked in this little room with a table, but I went off and built a mountain range where you couldn't see it and all, like, just I got a bit lost. It was like, the lads are there, like, when you go into these places, you're there to learn, and the lads understand that, and they were paying me to learn as well. Like,
really,
it was full paid scholarship to go over there.
Okay.
So they paid the rent, then they'd pay me a salary. Not like you wouldn't get that anywhere in Ireland, like, but
And like, so did you have to go live there, and how long did you live there for?
Yeah, I lived there for I think it was about 4 months. Yeah. Well, it was brilliant. The people I met, I still talk to some of them. Like, the connections I've made just from that were brilliant. But to live in Austria now, we were up in the sticks.
Okay.
Like, I got dropped there on a Friday evening, and there was no shops. There was nothing. Like, and I went through the first weekend just on warm beer. There was a vending machine with just, chocolate and stuff in it, like, and I didn't know anywhere I was going. They said everyone would be starting back on Monday, like, but it's a different world over there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'd say so. But like, are you then, like, cause you're in the middle of nowhere then, right? Are you like working like 7 days a week kind of thing, or like?
No. So there was lovely student accommodation. Now they had steam rooms and all in these big plastic steam rooms in the bathrooms and all. So just on the weekends, like, there would be a couple of international students. I met people from Korea, all over Europe, like, and some of them would be there on the weekend. So we would just relax and chill out on the weekends, and we'd play a few games, or there was pool tables on the gym and all that sort of stuff.
Could you get into like any major cities or?
Yeah, Linz and all is close by, but it was about an hour or two on the boat. We only went in there a couple of times because at that time when you're a student, you didn't have a lot of money, like, you know, really, like.
What would you be like? Can you say like what you'd be paid on like a scholarship, or is it? It's not massive money.
I think it was like £1,000 a month.
Okay, yeah.
£1,000 a month. My rent was about 400, I think.
Okay.
You know, so
enough to get by.
Yeah, there was enough. There was certainly enough to get by. Like, and I got the the disability allowance going to college because of dyslexia.
Oh, okay.
So I got like it was a few extra bob every month in that, like, you know. And it wasn't expensive. Like over there, you used to get 5 pint bottles of beer for €5, and then you drop them back and get €2 back. Like.
Okay, they had their return scheme already.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, all them years go glass for glass bottles. Anyway,
yeah. All right, class. But when you mentioned like WIT put like supports around you once you kind of told them after like your first year that you had dyslexia. What were those supports like? What are they like? Are you getting like one-on-one time with a tutor, or what's happening there?
I could have got that, but I didn't opt into that. The main thing that helped me, I was allowed to type my exams out instead of writing them.
Right.
Because I was never good at writing, because I would be 4 or 5 sentences ahead, you know, as I was writing.
Yeah.
And I'd get lost. But when I'm typing, I can type bullet points, and then I'd expand on my bullet points and delete it, and it's really, really fast and efficient. Like,
okay,
that was the main thing. They can give you headsets so they can read it, you know, stuff to you. And like when I did my Leaving Cert, I got a reader then because I had got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
But you can get a reader in to read the stuff. Now, I was happy enough to read the stuff and figure it out by myself.
Yeah.
The main thing was the keyboard and mouse, and they put you up in a different room. You know, they put you up in a room with other dyslexic students or other people that are getting support.
And you allowed like additional time then, or does it matter?
I think you're allowed an extra 15-20 minutes.
Okay, so it's not massive.
Yeah, I don't think I really ever, once you typed it, like you get it done in much, yeah.
Grand. And then coming out of college, right? Was it hard for you to get your first job then as an engineer, or?
No, I got hired before I left college.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay, how did that work?
There's a story here that I'd like to expand on. Yeah, really. So when I was in my third year, I came back from Austria, and I was came back, and then my partner then I got pregnant on my first daughter, Mila, who's now 7.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So there was a big dilemma. I was sitting there. I was actually during that summer, between my third and fourth years, working as a delivery driver for Tesco, which was a fantastic job, by the way.
Right.
But we were debating, so I did 4 years. I did my honours degree, and I was debating. We were kind of like, oh, she's pregnant, I'm fucked. Basically, that's all I can say. Like, you know, like we had nothing.
Panic.
We absolutely had nothing. This was not the time,
you
know, to have a baby in our lives. But I worked all summer that Tesco, long hours. And we were talking to a lot of people. And what factored it in, Amanda is her name down in WT, she was brilliant with me. She was brilliant. She said, no, do this, Max. You can do the programme. Because after the third year, I wouldn't have had enough. The fourth year was crucial. Okay. The fourth year was absolutely crucial, and I only learned that after doing it in the programming. And kind of about 3 months into my fourth year, a recruiter reached out to me and said that he had a job, right? You know, if I wanted to apply for it and all. Yeah. So I said, yeah, do you know what? I'll apply for it, and I'll see. This was my first rejection or whatever. Like, and I applied for it. I had to do it was a really hard technical test. Like, people came around me to get the technical. Now it's my bread and butter. Like, but I just didn't. So I got the technical test done and delivered it, and the lads came back to me like a week later and hired me before I left college. They said, you can finish, you know, out your degree and all that.
Yeah, okay.
So then I went off to finish that, and I went to start, and then I nearly died the week before. I hemorrhaged blood. An artery burst, maybe all the pressure, you know, with the little girl. I don't know what happened.
Stress or whatever.
Stress, yeah. A week before I was meant to start, I lost nearly 3 pints of blood in Vincent's, where the artery had burst in behind my eye, but it was going down into my stomach, and all the stress. But I started 4 days later. Like, the lads running around with the crash cart and everything scared the life out of me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it knocked the life out of me now.
Yeah,
so
bit of a fright.
Yeah, big. I wasn't healthy then. Like, I was nearly 100 kilos. Like, I wasn't really. I've lost in the last year and a half 55 pounds to start this entrepreneur journey as well. Like,
okay.
But I wasn't healthy at that stage of my life, really. Like, it was hard as well. You know, college student, you're working long hours as well with college and stuff.
Were you like in college? Like, were you like putting in like real effort, like to kind of get the results, but also because you were just like the interest and you couldn't stop because the way the brain was.
Programming,
Yeah.
like the programming was, I was always fairly decent at the programming, up in the high 80s, 90s of my programming. Some of the other stuff let me down. Like, you know, there was some stuff I just had to, you know, I had to cut with. There was lots of stuff that were heavy theory. You know, I had one systems engineering class, but it was so theory heavy. And you had to go out and like kind of model how airplanes systems work and radar stations and stuff work.
Okay.
You know, with the logistics of planes,
Yeah.
which is really, really, I don't know how to do it. You know, but you had this lecturer used to bring us outside and point up at the sky and just ask us how to try explain how it works and all that sort of stuff. Those ones towards the end I was lacking in, but I still got 60s, you know, 60s, 70s, like. So, but anything that was like you had to sit down and read 50 pages, I was just, no, I'm going to find a better way to do this now.
Okay.
You know.
You're getting building your own AI stack.
Yeah.
But in terms then of like the first job then, right? What was the first job then? I know you got it while you were in college, but when you finished college then, what was the first job?
First job, I worked for a company called Utrack. And Utrack does a lot with buses.
Okay.
Put it blankly.
This is
basically.
where your time in the buses.
Yeah, more or less. But as a back-end engineer, we were looking at the GPS coordinates of the buses, where they were, what the speed limits, were they breaking the speed limits, the reporting behind these kind of buses, like all these big customers across the UK and Europe. And I was responsible for a huge one in America by myself.
Okay.
There was one other lad, really, but we used to track up to 4 million students across America a day, like.
Jeez.
So it was my job when I started. Now it was a rocky start. Like, I had some imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I remember my first week, the lads, Connor was the CTO, is his name, and he tried to drown me. Right, not in a bad way, good way. He just challenged me every week. Like, the first thing I had to modify was something called a concurrent suffix tree. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I couldn't read it. I couldn't write. I couldn't even spell it. But looking at this thing, it was to do with, you know, if you had a bus stop A and you want to go to B, this tree would search and see, is that a possible combination? And I had to change it to go from 3 stops, so A, B, C, and it took me 2 weeks. I think I nearly quit. You know, like, luckily I didn't, but it killed me. Jeez. I had such imposter syndrome.
And you know, like, right, as a grad going into like your first job, were they like training you, or was there like toolbox talks on like how to do different things, or was it just, here's the problem, go fix it?
Yeah, just here's the problem, go sort that out. Like, and that really works.
Yeah.
If I ever get a junior now under me in any of my later jobs, like, I'll just try and drown them, you know, because when they start coming back to you with the problems, that's the good things when they're finding the problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so you want to find
yeah, so like, really, they give you a big problem, you just kind of have to dismantle it, you know, really, and see what the problem is or what you have to extend. So it wasn't really so much structured. Now, if there was a big change or something coming in, the lads would sit down and explain, this is what you have to do. But normally, sometimes you get a one-liner being like in a ticket, being like, you have to change it to do this. And that could be 2 weeks worth of work. You know, it could be a week's work, it could be a day. We didn't really do a lot of planning back then in them days in Utrack with the time. Like, when I moved on to distillery, it was a really well-oiled machine.
Right.
We're all split up into teams. You're estimating your work. We're breaking it down. There's lots of people doing all these different things, like, and it's more effective. You're doing smaller tasks, but a lot more of them.
Right.
So, and that kind of honed my career, really, and being with Utrack, because they were a startup as well, like, you just need to get stuff done.
Yeah.
You know.
What was the decision process you made to kind of leave Utrack and move to Distilled? Or were you headhunted, or did you reach out to them?
Well, I was with the Utrack, and if I go off on a tangent, I was with Utrack for close to 5 years, right? And I was coming to the stage now, and we got a lot. My career went, in the first 3 years, I'd nearly tripled my understanding of the industry and my actual skill set.
Right, okay.
And coming up to the 4th year, I went to the CEO and I said, I'm trying to buy a house. Can you give me more money? And he just said, yeah, no bother. You know, like, I still, you know, he's involved now with Rylax, like.
Okay.
He's still involved with Rylax, like, yeah. And there's another story we can go on to about that. And, like, this man is a gentleman as well. Like, if you ever had a problem, like, you just go to him. Like, you know, like, there were him and the CTO, Connor name, were just brilliant bosses to work for. But I was coming up, I needed to buy a house, and I needed more money, like to buy a house,
Yeah.
and he said, "Yeah, no problem." And he gave me the money and all. But then about 6 months in, I was like, it wasn't the money that was bothering me. I was kind of getting a bit stale
Okay.
in the thing, and he knew I wanted to do. Like when I interviewed with him, I said I want to start my own business,
Okay.
and
You're
that's what.
that upfront about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, that's probably lost me jobs in a couple of interviews, but I don't care. Like
Yeah.
really, like I don't. If the people don't want to hire me for that reason, I don't care.
Yeah.
But so I then Distilled reached out to me. One of the lads in Distilled reached out to me. We went through the interview process, and then when I seen their technical stack, like it was exactly what the bread and butter Java developer wants to learn.
Okay.
So I was like, I love the U-Track, and I remember sitting there going like, this is the biggest mistake in my life leaving it, because U-Track was run like a little family. Like the lads used to pay for your lunch and everything. Every day you get a Chinese or a chipper, or you wouldn't know what the lads would get in the office. It's over there on Wicklow Street actually, but
Right.
the lads were brilliant, so I was worried about that.
Yeah.
And I kind of just went down. I was like, if I want to get where I want to go, I'm going to have to change now, right? And get
Yeah.
these skills under my belt. And oh boy, did I. Like,
Did they try to keep you then, or?
yeah, there was things like I was with them for 3 years, like, and Distilled is a very, like, I don't know if you noticed about Distilled, they're the number one. They were number one. I think they're still in the top 5, maybe.
Yeah. They
But yeah, but number one, best place to work in Ireland, and it is like the perks and all they give you and all, and it's much more mature company.
Okay.
There's a lot more, like there's teams of people to do what we were doing in U-Track as well, but I had such a broad experience that I'd integrate with all the different teams,
Okay.
and I was learning. Like there was a couple of, like, the head of product and all, like, were very good to me when I had questions about the product, because the back-end engineers, no, you just do this, you just focus on this. But I'm naturally inquisitive,
Yeah,
and
well,
I
no.
weed myself into different teams to see what they're doing and figure things out. Like, like that's how I just,
That's
mix, kind of.
And the guys at U-Track though, did they, like, when you told them you were gonna leave, were they like fighting to keep you then, or?
Yeah. I remember the morning I rang Connor, like, and it was very upsetting, like, and Connor was like, I'd hate to lose you. Is there anything we can do? And I said, Connor, like, I told him it's just something that I had to do, and he respected it, like.
Yeah.
And we still, like, we kept in contact for years, and I kept in contact with the other engineers there, like, and then when I left Distilled this year, I left in November, I rang Connor, and just I had a question from him, and then he said, "You want to come on our Christmas party?" So I went on the Christmas party with him there.
They're trying to get you back in.
Yeah. Well, I kind of told them I was going out on my own, and
Okay.
just, I wanted as well to put my face in front of them and let them know that I would, because Eamon as well and had told me to let him know if I was ever going out on my own.
Right.
And yeah, so I just went to the thing, and then I went to start with Rylax.
Did you worked under the Daft brand in Distill, so Daft.ie, basically for houses and everything else. Is that where the idea stemmed from when you're going out?
No, because I was working, like, really, I always, because my dad was the builder, like,
Yeah.
I was always going to try, but I understand, like, with business, or with building sites, they don't want apps and all, like, there's different problems we're solving for them.
Yeah.
But it was buying a new home. We had such a nightmare of buying a new home, like, and it's the biggest expense of your life, like,
Yeah.
and the stress it causes people, and as well, they don't come to the quality of people. You buy a brand new car there for what, 80 grand now for an expensive car, like, now they are, like, but it comes pristine,
Yeah.
whereas the new house doesn't. Like, there's stuff you've still got to do with a new house. But even the process, the communication, like, our real estate agent was ringing us for updates, because I was just going down to site going, when's it going to be ready? Like, I was being evicted from my house because it was going to on the market for sale, and I was renting a house.
Okay, so you're
So
under pressure.
we were going to be homeless, like, like I had a couple of bobs saved.
Yeah.
And then we learned that we had to get out of the house. Like, we only had about 12 months. I said the rent in Wicklow was about 2.5, 3 grand, depending on the size of it, and a new build was 550. So we went down and we just bought an Enniscorthy, because I'd have the room to go on holidays and all. But then when we started to analyse the process and go through the process ourselves, I'm a systems thinker.
Yeah.
Really, like, I start thinking there's a better way to do this, really.
Yeah.
And so we put the original Rylax on the wall then and there. Like, I did it in my sitting room. There were sticky notes everywhere.
Right.
And we went and got the wrong feedback, and we left it there for a while, right? So I just continued my career in Distill, but I was having significant mental health problems, really. Like, I knew I had everything I needed to start.
Yeah.
right, just to get started. Because I don't, if anything I've learned in this whole process, your idea doesn't have to be fully finished either. Like,
No.
you know, like just get started on it.
Yeah.
And it was that, like, it was significant mental health issues. I was just like, I was doing well really well. I was getting promoted and, you know,
Yeah.
like going up the chain in Distilled. I went from mid-level to senior software engineer with Distilled, and there was a great team support me. Even the head of HR rang me one day and was like, what's going on? I couldn't even explain to her. I was like, when I finished work there, I couldn't turn it off. It was there till 10, 12 o'clock at night, and I couldn't sleep. And then I was kind of like, you should be doing this for yourself. If you're going to spend this many hours thinking about it,
Yeah.
why not just do it for yourself? Like,
Okay.
and it came down to, it was in November last year. One night I just had enough and I sent him a notice and said, I'm just going to start next week. Just going to start, like.
That's it.
Yeah, and oh well, there was another part. My wife was made redundant, or my fiance then was made redundant
Right.
when she was on maternity leave with my second daughter, Robin.
Okay.
And everything was just chaos. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna just put my back up against the wall and fight out of this.
Yeah.
You know,
on.
so she needed a job, so now she has a job.
Yeah.
You know, with Rylax, you know, but she still primarily looks after our children. That's what she wants to do, but she helps them with so much.
Yeah.
You know, she has been the bread and butter of getting me to here. Like,
Just after support.
but yeah, to answer your question, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like, there was no, it's very hard to explain, you know yourself. You know, you just have to jump, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I remember, like, I think it was my nanny died, right? And I was like working and I was kind of struggled to get a bit of time off. And I remember just looking down the ground and saying, fuck this. But there's always this, I was in school, there was a poster of a kid in Africa, a troker poster with an AK-47. And it said, this PlayStation only has one life. And I thought about that and I was like, right, fuck it. I think it's like 2 weeks later, quit my job. Just on the way to work, I was like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
And I actually called in sick, and because I was like, "Don't do it. You're not ready." I was like, "I am ready. I'm gonna do it." And then the next day, I just went. I was like, "Okay, look, it's just not for me." I wasn't actually sick yesterday. I was actually thinking about this.
yeah.
So
And it would make you sick, though.
Yeah,
It really would make you sick. Like, I think you probably put a lot of pressure on yourself over the last couple of years as well. With, I can do this.
yeah. So yeah, because I was thinking of, like, I was like, "Why am I doing this?" I just didn't like being after I left the army. I just didn't like being told what to do. So I was just like, I'm sick of having a boss now and a manager. And I was like, I'm out here. I'm gonna do this on my own. But that's how it stands. It's just that, like, you have to kind of get to that mental breaking point to push through, and that's what will help you as you're not, well, like, getting through the fires of entrepreneurship, right? And the roller coaster.
Yeah. Because the first 3 months of, like, and the first 3 months were torture.
Yeah,
It was, yeah, go on.
it's tough. But did you always know, like, that Rylax was going to be the business that you were going to have, or like when you told them in the interview that you wanted to be on your own, did you know what type of business or what product you wanted to build? You just knew you wanted your own
I've made a
business.
couple of products. Like, I've made a couple of cool little things that I never really followed through with, right?
Yeah.
And I've quit a lot of times. I've started these projects and stopped after a week. I'd hit the first blocker.
Okay.
And I always started with the hard stuff. With Rylax, I started with the easy stuff, and then I said, when it gets hard, I'll just do it, you know, like, because you've done so much work, you've done all the things. Like, the first thing I made was something called Bobba Jobbers, right?
What's this?
When I was 7, I wanted a new skateboard. I wanted a professional skateboard, like.
Yeah.
And so my mum and dad said, like, and go up the road there and cut people's grass, sweep the driveways, do whatever, and do a few Bobba Jobbers, they called them. So go up to the house and ask them. So I went up the road with a thing and came back with €90, like, or £90, I think it was at the time. I can't even remember, like, it was a long time ago, to get my skateboard. I just went up and down. Right. And then that idea stuck with me since I was about 7. Like, I was like, if there was little jobs around your house, would you pay for them? Pay someone €5 to advertise them and then pay someone to do it? And now I think there's a website that does it.
Yeah.
And that was the first kind of thing that was sitting there for years and years and years, and then sitting in my head. And then for I think it was my 3rd year final project in college, I made Bobba Jobbers.
Right.
And then I just never followed through with it. Like, you know, that was the first thing. But, like, there was other things. I used to wash cars, you know, as well. Like, you know, just wash cars for cash.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I was only young though, so the revenue can't come after me.
Underage. But
Yeah.
so you didn't actually know what the product was going to be. You just knew that you wanted to build something and be your own boss, like from.
Yeah, well,
So
I'll tell you how I started with
yeah.
Relax. Didn't even think of the front end, right? Didn't even think what it looked like. I built like what I call a modular property management system. It's like a system of components that I can pull together to make loads of different new features,
Okay.
right? And I thought that was going to take me 3 months, and I did it in 2 weeks, right? It just kind of came out of me when I started in November. I felt so fresh after the week off, and
Yeah.
I built that. And then kind of coming up around Christmas, we were talking about it, and then Dana started making these renders with Canva, kind of based on what I had told her, and I was like, "That's very good. We'll just keep going with that." So
Right.
we picked a front end framework, which was a nightmare.
Right.
Right, it was completely different learning to me.
Okay.
So, but I started the first day. I was like, I'm going to make this button. When I click this button, this text is going to go red instead of black, right? And I started there. So I clicked the button. The button worked, right? And then I was like, okay, what can I do now? So then I said, I'll make a login page. And then I forgot I hadn't made a register, so there's nothing to log in with. So I made the register. So I was fancy, happy out, and that's all I had till Christmas. Then I came back January fresh. I took a little bit of time off with the girls because Robin, my daughter, was only 4 months old. Like,
Yeah.
and Dana had made more renders, and there was about 60 of them on the wall. And I was like, you're just doing what every product manager does, and it's called scope creep. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do all this work. So I said, well, we'll pick it apart and we'll pick an MVP out of it,
Okay.
and we'll just try and get the MVP to market. Then we've more to talk about. While I was doing this, I was applying for things like, excuse me, the pre-seed start fund and all, but I wasn't really ready for that. I was just
Okay.
talking to these people and talking to these people. And so it was a battle now. Like, it was
Yeah.
12-hour days and all, because I wasn't really good at the front end, and then integrating it, and I was getting better. And what we did about mid, I think it was early February, we sent it out to our first test batch of users. Through Firebase, let you send it directly, and we got some feedback. And the feedback was that it was good, it was all right, but the UI was a bit thing.
Okay.
So I adjusted the UI and all. We did back, and we went back for another round of feedback. And yeah, we got good responses, but I still didn't really like the UI. It was very, I could show you a picture, maybe you could put it up or whatever, I don't know. But it was very green. It was very, like, this is my first attempt. But we sent it out, and we did a kind of like, we sent out a marketing letter. Does anyone want to sign up to the beta? And then self-builders, people building their house, and people renovated, downloaded it.
Okay.
And they start giving feedback and being like, well, it's more for new builds, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, well, yeah. And then I was like, oh crap, there's a way I can do this now. And I doubled down and I rebuilt with all the skills that I had. I rebuilt the app over a 2-week period. Like, I had all the hard code and all the thing done. So I rebuilt, gave it a new UI, fresher UI, sent it back out, and our people thought it was great.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, now I have to build the iOS version, right? That was one of the hard problems, right? Because you can't build iOS on Windows.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't have a MacBook, right? Because I had to give back my work MacBook, when I left Distilled. I didn't have a lot of money at all. Like, I didn't have any money. Most of them, there was no point in me putting money into the business to pay myself when I'd already paid considerable amount of tax on it. Like, and the money that I had saved for my garden, but it was now my business fund, for my new build. Like, so, and then Dana was made redundant, so she got a few bob from that. But we bought a €700 laptop off, refurbed. And this yoke it was a good laptop, right? It was good. From
this laptop, is it?
No, that's a monster.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another story, right?
Okay.
That's a little bit of my reward that I've gotten from the work I've done.
Right.
But we got the iOS build, right? And I sat for 18 hours trying to configure this laptop and build the thing. And we eventually got it, right? And I got it out to the App Store. And the App Store actually came back right away and said, you're only missing 1 or 2 things for compliance. Can you add them? And I was like, yeah, because, like, the big thing for me was compliance and security. Doing it my first time, I didn't want to mess with people's data and all that.
Yeah, okay.
And that sometimes in the industry you might have lads to do that, and then my back-end API would be secure and all that sort of stuff. So I just had to make sure, like, I'd never looked at the App Store.
Right.
So, and there was loads of costs that came there. So half our startup cost to get the original product to market was the laptop. Just to build it. Like, we got it out and we got it there. we did a couple of versions, a couple of iterations, and then I applied for the New Frontiers.
Okay.
And that kind of changed everything, really. Because we were going through, and I was working out the numbers as I was going. We were we were surveying people, would you pay for this? And I didn't really want people to pay for the app. Really, people are like, you should charge €100. I was like, you're mad. Like, I don't want to be charging people trying to get into their new homes €100. You mad?
Okay.
And you know yourself, like it's a very tight period in people's lives trying to get into a new home, like. But I just kind of was doing the New Frontiers, and the New Frontiers was great. You know, it's what they call the ideation stage, but really I call it the filter. It's really going like, have you thought about this? Now, have you really thought about this? And it's not meant to be just for Ireland. You're meant to be able to try and scale into Ireland and England.
Yeah.
We had people downloading the app in Australia and everything on the beta, like, and then I had to close it off because there's compliance, you know, reasons. No, like, like the beta made it from Australia to Canada, you know, like, and there was only a small under 100 people that signed up for the beta, but it was like, and the traffic through the website and all over the world.
Yeah.
So doing the New Frontiers, and before I was doing the New Frontiers, there was a time when I was like, this is it, I'm going to have to stop, right? Because I was going to run out of money and I couldn't risk the house and I couldn't risk the thing, like, but I had enough to apply for contracting, but I had learned so much. I had never deployed something end to end myself on my own servers, made it fully secure and fully compliant. That was majority of the work.
Yeah.
Like, and setting up my code base and all that sort of stuff. And I was really, really struggling with it, and to market, we'd only put €76 into marketing, really, like, you know, like.
So how are you getting all this like traffic from like Canada and Australia?
Well, I'm fairly tricky with a few euro, like,
right.
You know, like,
okay.
I, to be honest, like, everything as well is instrumented, so I could see it, like Google Analytics and all. I spent time setting up all this sort of stuff so I could see it. Yeah. And we have a lot of people on LinkedIn. We have a lot of friends. We have a lot of family to share it around and all that, just to get us going anyway.
Get the word out, yeah.
But I was doing the New Frontiers and I was doing the numbers behind the Rylax app, and like, it says on the Rylax app, this is your trial, but it's not hooked up to anything. Like, I don't charge anything. Like, it doesn't recur. Like,
yeah,
it's just at the start. I was like, if I want to build the Rylax I want to build, I'm going to have to obviously get capital.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was like, there's no way I'm going to charge these people too much money to do this. And then I was like, well, I charge a $5, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and attack this problem differently.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to have to go back and do contracting, or maybe do something, you know, for a year contract work. But as the market's pretty mad.
Yeah.
And that was a turning point. I doubled down on AI, right then and there. And I rang Eamon, and I was going to Eamon, my first boss.
Yeah.
And I was going to be like, I was going to meet him. Now he's all over the world because he's CEO of his own company and all, like, and he has a lot of things to be doing. And he came to meet me, and I had this little folder of the Rylax that I wanted to build.
Yeah.
But really I was going there to ask him, like, I've gone a bit wrong here. I spent too much time going down this route, and I explained to him how the system worked, like, it's modular and I can connect it all together and all that. But before he even looked in the folder, he said, I'm going to give you a punt. You know, like, he said, I'm gonna go in on you with this and try and help you, like.
Really?
Yeah. So Eamon came along and said, I'm gonna really help you with this, you know, like, and he gives me support, and he's opened up his network and, you know, capital as well, like.
Brilliant.
And we call it the punt fund agreement.
Right.
Because he believes in me, you know. He didn't even look in the folder.
Yeah, invest in the person.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And he just lets me do what I do, like. So after that, I was doing the New Frontiers. And I said, there's one crucial point of this I missed out. If anyone's starting to think starting business, is don't ever talk to anyone that's never done it before.
Yeah.
And don't take advice from them, because so many people were like to me, make sure you have something to fall back on. And I was like, okay, a decade in the software industry in Ireland is not enough to fall back on. Like.
Yeah.
But some people, even the early feedback we got we talked to the wrong people. So going back to the New Frontiers, they make you go out and canvas people. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go out and talk to these people again. So I went back to talk to the agents and talk to the developers, some of which I've always talked, like, I have a couple in Wicklow and all that I talk to. I have a couple in Enniscorthy, like, and I explained to them a bit more about the process, about what we wanted to do. But all the while, like if you look at the Rylax app, it's the single unit of property that I was working on. So it's the storage of the files, the expenses of everything. It's like a micro
Yeah.
property management system. And now I just emphasize and scale it. Like, so one of our first pilot agent is going on with 50 properties, and they hopefully will scale them up to 500 over the next 6 months.
Oh,
You know, like, but the tooling that we are building as well for the developer with the snag report analysis, that just was me random one night with OpenAI. Like, I have an OpenAI integration with ChatGPT. Like, so, but what I do is I'll talk to it and see if I can get it to produce a structured result of what I want, and then I'll switch it over to my framework test bench and be like, can I programmatically do it? So that's where I started leveraging AI, like to ingest snag reports, like, you know, for example.
right.
Like we have one of our test sets down there is like, you can tell the man has a dodgy plumber, because like majority of the snags and the money coming back in from snags is being caused by a plumber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if there's like a problem on site, the data then correlates like what the actual problem is, and then you can kind of pinpoint the problem
Yeah.
to tell.
And what we're learning is the smaller, well, they wouldn't say they're small, but lads with like 100 houses kind of know where the problems are. And the snag reports aren't coming in such a volume that it's such a problem, but we're getting the value out of them and seeing, you know, like I'm using the fella in Wicklow to test with me and all, like, because he's a hardcore builder, has been for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
he says we're onto something, but it's we put in so many snag reports.
Yeah.
And we could fill them out over a time series. For example, like you could backfill it. It's expensive now to backfill it with the AI.
Yeah.
But you could backfill it for 3 years and go like, this lad has cost you, or this person, or whatever. Now, like you might see like a high number of snags is painting.
Yeah.
But the really, from even my own understanding of a building site, is the lads will paint them and then the other lads going in to do fixing and doing whatever might damage the paint.
Yeah.
So it's not really a reflection on a bad painter there.
Yeah.
But we have one like windows and doors is the second highest. The second highest problem that is in our test set of data is windows and doors, and then plumbing. Plumbing is a big problem, and we know because like everyone's had to cut their ceilings out and all down there from bad plumbing. Like,
Okay. So
but you could identify that. You could,
whatever.
yeah. So we're just seeing there, but that's the other thing I made was a property valuation tool with AI. Like, and the barrier to that entry is having the data to tell you. But now it just goes off, gets the number, and the most important thing of a valuation is the comps. Right, so they have to get these comps, which is there's a property here for sale, or use the property price register and put them on the reports, and we pull them in as well. Like,
okay, so the product was initially for like, you know, the normal Joe Soap going to buy their home. Now it's for the developer. Is it for anyone else then, or?
It's well the agent gets the agent will get, and the agent, and I've designed it so the agent and the developer both get access to it. Really,
Okay,
like,
and they have an overview of the whole process now.
Yeah. So they'll be able to see in real time the properties, the state they were at, the buyer that's assigned to them, the buyer's details, all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, but they only get access to their own data, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Instead of a blanket way to go. So they send out a link and we collect the data for them. You know, GDPR secure and securely and all that sort of stuff. Then we link it into their system, and when they link it into the system, they can manage the state. So like the snagging stage is the first fix, the second fix, but the developer, the agent can manage like it's been instructed or it's on the market, it's sold, it's closing, for example, and it just gives them a broad, and that's just our MVP. Like, we've still got another 6 to 12 months worth of roadmap already coming in from our users, like on that part.
Okay.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
So like, what's next, right? Are you like just with one builder now? Are you looking for more builders, or what's the plan?
Yeah, so again, back to new frontiers, Ireland, England, they want you to go. So I thoroughly researched how new builds are sold, and they're sold differently in England.
Yeah.
Now, some are sold by agents, but in a lot of cases, the developer sells them. So that's the way I designed it. So the developer can just use it.
Okay.
So you don't need to be an agent and have a developer. You can be an agent and just have it, or you can be a developer and just have it. So it's, you know, like whoever kind of wants to use it, but it's fully set up that the buyer, the agent, and the developer. So like we can push notifications to the buyers to the Rylax app, for example.
Okay.
Now that is not set up right now. It's not live. Like,
Yeah.
But I have a version here at home, like, you know. So
That can do.
yeah.
And is it a case like where it could like cut out the agent and just be the developer and the buyer, or is that a different product
Not,
altogether?
I wouldn't say so in Ireland, because there's a lot of headache that the agents say, you know, say if the developer in Ireland, they do a lot of the marketing and all, you know, they push it. I don't see like, not soon anyway, but this software I've designed, I can go into England. So we're looking at people in England now to see smaller developers. But we're starting our pilot in 2 weeks. So it's gone out for feedback right now, and I'll adjust to the feedback over the next 2 weeks and do kind of like a startup crunch again, where I'll do 12, 14-hour days, getting it ready, and then I'll be on the ground. Like the first week, I'll be in the office with them.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
kind of
like,
making sure it's all run smooth.
yeah, run all smoothly, but I'll change it. I can change it in real time. So I've set it up from what I learned in other places that it has one-click deploy. You know, so if I change it, I can make a few button clicks and it'll deploy a fresh version for me.
Right, class, so
Yeah.
instant.
Yeah.
And then what's the story then with the laptop then, with this one?
This one, that's my baby.
That's
So obviously I said when I met Eamon, I was talking to him about I need to get an office. I'm renting an office down in Green Tech HQ in Enniscorthy.
Yeah.
Just to get out of the house, you know, with the
you need
children.
separation.
Yeah. Because I spent the first 6 months, was it 5 months at home, like, and it was hard, like, you know, baby here, baby there, you know. It was a wonderful time. I missed it with Mila though, you know, when I was in the first job at Utrecht. Mila was so small, I missed most of it. So, well, I didn't miss most of it, I was there every night, but you know, I missed most of it. But it was nice to see Robin this time. But this laptop, so I needed an office, and the laptop, we went into the office, and the laptop was just, because I have a really strong computer for AI and all at home that I can run an AI and all on.
Okay.
It's kind of like a hybrid gaming computer for simulators and thing, but it's more for development.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But obviously it's in Windows, and I can't. It's really heavy. I can't bring that to the office with me every day. And then we went to the office, and the laptop was so slow. It just wasn't powerful enough, you know. The battery kept running out, and it was horrible. But I ground, and then me and Dan were sharing that laptop. So when I come home from work, she'd take that laptop, I'd go to the computer, and you know, all that sort of stuff. But then when Eamon came along, that was one of the first things we got with Eamon, and moved into the office, like.
Okay.
Yeah. So he knows the productive, like, he's CEO of a tech company himself, like, you know. And like when we got that, like, it's such a wonderful laptop. It's so, but when you've worked with crap like for so long,
really appreciate it.
Yeah, you really do appreciate it. Like, and that was my first big business expense through Rylax.
Right.
But it's a powerhouse, and it's nice to work on. The battery's really long, but it was just the story of everything combined with that laptop, the initial laptop.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It just would not play ball with me, and that has an actual Apple chip in it, as the M4. Whereas the other one had an Intel chip in the old Mac, and it just was if there's any software engineers watching to know, configurations are not a nice part of this job, like, you know, getting things working together, like. But so now, but it's very powerful, and you can do, like, there's so many things you can do on a good laptop. The new OpenAI ChatGPT, you can run it on that, like.
All right, just on the laptop.
Yeah, and a very kind of dumbed down version or lighter version of it. You can run them, because you can run them locally. That's OpenAI. You can run them locally, like.
Yeah. And going. Sorry, just swing it back, right? So obviously you took an investor on board, right? Was it a hard decision for you to say yes to an investor, or were you just at the point where, like, you needed the investor to take you forward because, you know, giving away a percentage of something was better than 100% of nothing, basically, or?
Well, everything in this business is transactional, but not to go into our agreement.
No,
yeah. But we're too early to get a proper valuation on, and he understands that as well. Like, so he wanted to support me, like, he told me to come and look. He wanted me to pay myself well, not like I'm back on it, like, graduate junior level wage. Like, that's enough for me, you know, to grind this out. Yeah. But it was down to, I don't think I'd done too much. I wouldn't have been able to give up on it. But I need capital for better servers, for better, like, things for the laptop, everything. And I was looking at contracting. But the thing about contracting as well, like, by the end of the day, I'd be cooked. Yeah, you will be cooked, like, coding. When I start coding at 7 o'clock in the morning, I could be done the majority of my coding by 12, because I'm very productive. It's only like if I kind of do a good day, I'll have my lunch and go back at it then into the evening. Right. Now, that is when I'm in the office, of course. Like, there's many evenings I'll just sit on the laptop. Yeah. But to answer your question, like, it's a consideration, but the value that was coming on board as well, like, you know, Eamon sold his company, Utrack. Eamon and Connor sold Utrack to another bigger group. Yeah. Only like 12 weeks ago. you know, they're still going to be very busy because of the
Everything else
deal.
is
Yeah,
also-
but they've been on the new, or not the new, they've been on papers and all, you
Yeah.
know, and that kind of experience, you know, like, because there was a couple of people I'd asked over the couple of years, do you want to take the risk here and do this? Like, and no one had the balls really. Like, anyone I talked to had no more interest, and they were happy enough collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
When you get very comfortable on a good, and I was on a good wage, like,
Yeah.
it's very hard to leave that, like, you know, and I was getting too comfy.
Yeah, the psychological contract.
Yeah. And then I was like, but no, I wouldn't say so. Look, you know, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Oh,
that's a problem to solve later. But like,
yeah.
we'll figure that out. Like, and like,
Sometimes it's good to have a collective, you know, involved in the business.
well, that's
and
it.
push it on
Like,
further,
yeah.
you know. Just the growth and even the connections that you can be introduced to just by having someone else on board. Like,
Yeah, and we don't have, like, I wouldn't call it a formal relationship. I'll send him a voice note and he'll come back to me, you know, when he comes back to me, and we'll have a chat, and then he'll come down to me or I'll go up to him. You know, like, it's very relaxed. Whereas in the New Frontiers, like, by the end of phase 2, they're nearly getting you pitch ready. I was
Okay.
like, I've spent like 9 years trying to get pitch ready with my skills, you know, that was a conflicting thing. And I went and talked to Eamon, and he was like, yeah, like, no fighting it.
Did you finish through the New Frontiers program? Like, there's 3 steps, is there?
I did. I did the first step, and I came to the second step, and we were down in Green Tech. I was talking to a couple of ladies and all that do the New Frontiers, and I told them the problem I had was that one, Eamon was coming on board. Well, not that was a problem, sorry.
Yeah.
And I was applying for a feasibility study.
Okay.
And the feasibility study will knock you out, so you get a stipend for phase 2 of the New Frontiers, will give you like 15 grand over 6 months.
Yeah.
2 problems with that. I wouldn't get access to that if I got any other grant or sum of income, so it would be costing me like money to commute over to Carlow, where I'd have to do it.
Okay.
2, I didn't want to go back to school.
Yeah.
That's the thing that was killing me the most. Is like, I have to go over here and fall asleep now for 6 hours in a classroom every day, and like, I know people will get value from it. It's like, I'd work so hard to surround myself with people like Eamon. I have Connor as well that I can ring. I have people in Distilled. I have people that were in Distilled that I can talk to if I have any questions. People are still very good to me.
Yeah.
Ed Murphy that owns Green Tech HQ down in where I am now, he's a serial entrepreneur. I have him. He sits like across the other desk, and if I have any problems, and then he has other staff in there that are very good as well, and they're introducing me to agents and developers that they know. You know, so I've kind of made this kind of myself really a big support structure by going out and talking to people and all. And we were sitting down, and I emailed one of the ladies, and I was like, can you give me any advice? And she basically came back and said, make this decision for yourself. So I did. That was it. Like, and I was like, there was one person I talked to now in the process that told me to go back to work and, you know, go back contract and give up on it. And
You probably nearly did you?
no, fucking, but it killed me a bit. Like, he wouldn't even listen to me. I found, like, throughout this whole process, you've got 2 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you explain my fucking battle to get to here in 2 minutes? You know, like, they want you, and I understand pitching and all. The New Frontiers is fantastic with your pitching and all.
Yeah.
And I've nothing negative to say about anyone or the New Frontiers. It just didn't make sense for me right now.
Okay.
And I think I still have the option to go back and do phase 2.
Okay.
And I was actively encouraged by the ladies too, and they were excited for me to apply because I had a working product, whereas
Yeah.
everyone was still having ideas. Like, and it's like college. The first day there was like 50 people on the call. The second day there was 30, and then by the end of it, I think there was 12 or 13 of us, you know, doing it. But now more people applied to phase 2.
Yeah.
And we had everything, but I was actually applying. I had to do so many pages. The week the paperwork was due, I was doing the application for another grant through my local enterprise office.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, well, if I get this one, I'm not going to get that anyway. And I got that one in the end, you know, like,
Yeah.
so I got that. I get support now from my Leo as well, like, and the intro office that helped me. Like, the very start, there was no help.
Yeah.
And I understand now because you have an idea. You don't have anything at the
Yeah.
very
You
start.
have to show it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to work for it, like.
Yeah.
And like, I can't say I'm gonna be successful in this at all. I just going to give it a go, like, you know.
It's a big gamble.
Yeah. You say that, but like, I fundamentally believe, like, you can just go back and do what you were doing, like.
100%.
I can drive diggers with machinery and all. Like, I can go and do that. I'd actually probably be happier after spending 10 years in a corporate career.
stress.
Yeah. I was like, I'd have no problem going. I've dug enough holes for myself in my life. I'd go out and dig more with a digger. Like, but I just back to the front. I just decided not to.
Yeah,
You know, I just
okay.
decided, I had to make the decision. I spoke to Eamon as well, and he said, "I don't care. You do what you want." You know, like he just said, like you're gonna figure it out. You know, and I just decided not to. You know, it will be. I think it will be just starting now. In a couple of weeks to phase 2, and I would have had to go to college. You know, and learn, and you're learning so many different things in Stranger. Like Ed Murphy, that's in Green Tech, I believe he goes in and talks, and I was like, well, he sits in my office, or not my office, I sit in his office. You know, kind of like. So I said, do you know what? I've got this far. I said, you know what? If I fuck it up, I fuck it up.
Yeah, I don't think you will, but
Yeah.
Right. But if someone wants to find you now, right? Like, where can they find you, or how's the best way to get in touch with you, or how can they download the app if they want it, or
The apps are on the App Store. It's called Rylax Home Project Hub.
Relax Home Project Hub? That's for
Yeah.
the individual.
Yeah, that's for the individual, and that's completely what we call decoupled from our other system. Like we said, we're going to let that go if we can help people, and we're still getting feedback in. Like there's something like 14 million worth of properties on it. Like you know, like so in that, and people are changing it.
Yeah.
They're every day, like you know, and they're uploading their pictures. It's kind of, I designed it in the theory that when you're going to move into a new house, you're going and you're looking at 45 kitchen tables and chairs.
Yeah.
And then there's pictures of them. Where was that one? Where's all the price? Well, I did anyway, because I like to get the most bang for my buck. So we went around shopping everywhere, me and Dane. And I kind of designed around that. Like you can go around and take pictures of things. You can keep track of your expenses. But also a part of it, when you create an account, it pre-fills your account with some of the expenses that you might not have thought about, like snag reporting, or you know, some people that are not educated on the actual thing. And so in the new version as well, we have like a little information hub where we're explaining all this. Now that's going out in a couple of weeks. Like.
Okay, so anyone that's like about to buy their first home and they're kind of thinking about doing it up or whatever it is, they log in, they say what they want to buy or what they want to spend on the inside of the property or whatever it is. And then you also have like an information hub where they can kind of look at things that they might not have thought of.
Yeah, and through the expenses, so I can show you a picture and then just to explain about it. But
you can do a screenshot.
Yeah. Oh, it's logged out. I'll send you a screenshot.
A video or something.
Yeah. No, but it's more like it's an interactive template to manage your expenses, so you can put what it costs you and what you've paid off of it. You know, for example, because people buying, like, I got a fridge, a very, very nice fridge, and it was like €2,800.
Okay.
The sticker price. And I put €50 off it. And I was like, every time that goes on sale, I'm going to ring them and put €50 off it. So I did that, and I ended up getting it for like €1,250, like. Okay. You know, like, and it's one of these ones you can knock on and it has a glass door and all, like.
Yeah.
So that's why I built into the app that you could manage your costs. Now, loads of people came up with loads of suggestions and all as well as we were going, but you can kind of break down where your money's going. There's graphs and all to see where, because as these projects go on, and the concept that it's not a new build, I change it so self-builders can use it, and they're going from foundations, they're going from doing their groundwork to foundations to, you know, superstructure being built to the first fix, the second fix. There's a lot of stuff that aggregates up and lots of money goes missing as well. That was one of the users came back, so I did that for them and they were happy with it. Like, I was like, oh, right, well then maybe it'll help someone else. But I was told as well to delete the app and get rid of it, because you know, you're going down. We full pivoted to B2B. Yeah, really. And I was like, but I made it. Like, it's someone, and there's people using it. And I was like, you know, why? Like, I made it for free. It's like, I used my skills to make it. Why would I delete it? It cost me something like €150 a month to host. You know, I said, why not just leave it up there?
Just leave it there.
Yeah, just leave it up there and I extend it. And if people want more extended, we will. But we are focused more on the B2B. Yeah.
So, if then a developer then, or, you know, a big housing company wanted to reach out to you, do they have to come sit down and chat to you before you kind of get them go live, or can they just click on a button, put in their information and go live?
Right now in the pilot stage, like, because of our MVP, there's no self sign up. So we sign them up. We create their account as some white glove onboarding, really. Yeah. And they can reach me on max.shannon@relax.ie or my Instagram or LinkedIn.
Okay. What's your Instagram and LinkedIn pages and
name? Max Shannon 2016 is my LinkedIn, at Max Shannon 2016 at LinkedIn. See,
we'll stick it in the comments anyway.
Yeah, and then the LinkedIn, I'll send you the link.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Fair. Right. Thanks for coming in, Max. Much appreciated.
A special thanks to Max for sharing his story, and best of luck with his startup Rylax. If you enjoyed the episode, if you could hit that like, subscribe or follow button, that'd be great. And thanks for listening.